Hi guys, today I am going to post to my podcast again, and I just love doing these video podcasts where you can find like the video version here on YouTube, but then also I've got the audio version through different podcast platforms. So I'm sure that whatever sort of like podcast platform that you listen to is where you can find me, and it's called Only Looking Up because I mainly talk about petite things. But yeah, it's been a few months since I posted there and time has just flown. So I'm really excited to start today with a series, maybe just like a mini series that I want to put together ideas for called Adulting. Basically anything that I've started doing as an adult that has really transformed the way that I look in my fashion or beauty or whatever that is. So today, I wanted to talk about 5 fashion items that I've invested in recently. So that's kind of what I'm going to be discussing today. It's going to be really chatty. I've got my coffee. So hopefully you can just sit back and let this roll. And I don't know, it's just going to be a really fun topic. It's close to my heart. For those of you who maybe are new to my channel or new to me, I just started a couple years ago on my personal style journey, meaning I found myself in a place where I was really just strapped on my budget. I really didn't want to put a lot of money into things like clothes or anything like that. I wanted to just focus in on my finances, and that worked for the time especially, and it's always important. And I never want to say anything that would be a reflection of what you should do with your finances. It's very personal. But for me, I found that clothing was just last on the list. As I was also faced with this career of being a designer, I found that I wasn't at a point in my career where I should be making those cuts on my wardrobe because I wanted to be taken seriously in things like meetings or, I've talked to other people who are faced with kind of the same thing in their career. If you maybe are taking care of someone's children, I know one of my friends that she was faced with that too, and she wanted to be respected by the parents. So instead of dressing to take care of the small children, she started dressing to impress the parents and give trust to the parents. So that was just one example of how clothing can impact that. So I approach this topic delicately because I find that it's super important and it will have a big return on investment. But I know that not everybody is at a place where they want to invest in their wardrobe at the time. So that's kind of where I'm at today, is discussing where you're going to find the biggest impact on your higher end purchases of your wardrobe. So if I was just completely starting over again, day one, that's where I found myself a couple years ago. I ended up investing in just a few small things to rebuild my wardrobe from the ground up. Instead of having everything that was kind of mismatched or just bought out of maybe an impulse, even though it was more on clearance or whatever, I wanted to invest in just a few items that would give me the longest impact, meaning it was more quality than I was used to paying for, and then also it just had a big impact on the versatility of the pieces. That's pretty much it. I'm just going to go into it, but again, I think that this really will have impact for anybody who wants to be taken more seriously, and maybe it's just for a few key moments in your life, like maybe you're buying a car, selling a car, maybe you're going in for a job interview. I've been on both sides of the table for that. I've been the one being interviewed. I've given interviews. So this is my jam. I love talking about this. I love talking about how to dress to impress and then doing that with versatility. Okay, without further ado, these are the 5 things that I would say to invest in as an adult. One is the right fabrics. So to me, that means high quality neutrals. I find that really goes the furthest. Like when I first started, I looked for what's a button down that I can wear. Like a white button down would be such a classic piece. maybe a black dress. So these are neutrals. These are things that you could blindly go into your closet, maybe with the lights off and it's, really early in the morning, and you could just pick out a couple of things from your closet and they match. That was my goal with when I first started. It's still my goal. I've built my closet, which is now bigger than it was when I first started, but I can still reach into my closet and things match. Like I can mix and match anything really, and it works. So doing that intentionally, especially just with neutrals, if you want to look more mature, this is a great way to do that, is just to find, black, white, brown neutrals. As far as like maybe a linen without any dyes is so pretty. It's like the prettiest color in the world, I think. But then also I really like things like a good pair of jeans, like a good pair of blue jeans. So blue is in essence still a neutral. Jeans, you might need to dress up a little bit for the sake of this conversation. But that would definitely be something to do. But then also, if you're going to buy something that you're going to wear frequently, it's helped me to be able to buy higher quality fabrics. So instead of buying 5 shirts, like, I just did a video on white t-shirts, it might be better to buy something that is a higher quality that you take care of, and that will last longer than if you bought, eventually 5 of them throughout the year because they keep getting dirty or whatever. And so there's things that you can do to protect white garments for that conversation as well. But I think that when I have bought something from Elizabeth Suzanne, which is much more high-end than a lot of the other things that I buy, then her fabrics have lasted so much longer than a lot of the other fabrics that are just like it. So in line with that, silks, high quality fabric, you can't really buy that cheaply. And if you do buy it cheaply, it tends to kind of pick and not last as long, maybe rip at the seams a little bit. But when you do buy quality, it will last longer. And you really do get what you pay for if you're looking for the right fabrics. Another one is linen. I love linen, especially for this time of year where it's kind of warmer out where I am, and just having something super breathable. And I've had all sorts of different linens from different companies, and I would say that some are perhaps a little bit more see-through than others. Some might have a little bit more wear and tear, and the weave might come a little bit looser. So that's something to consider, especially around the seams. I find the most use, the most like deterioration if I'm not buying quality. So those are things to consider if you are going to invest in something that's a pure basic, like a button-down shirt or a black dress. A black dress could be something that's hanging in your closet for years. And so instead of buying several throughout those years, you could buy one really good one that you feel confident in. And when you go in for that handshake, when you're about to have some sort of like car sale, for instance, or a job interview, super important, then you're going to feel so much more confident knowing that what you are wearing, I don't know, it's like wearing a cape, we just feel empowered, like a little kid who's wearing a superhero cape. And so that's kind of the idea behind this. High quality, neutral fabrics, they go forever. You'll use them forever. And that is definitely something that has gone the longest for my personal style journey and being more mature in what I wear. So one last note on that, I literally have some pieces that have lasted 3 years and they're still going. They're not going to go out of style. They're higher end as far as the fabrics, and they're neutrals. So, there's sometimes where a teal or whatever might be so on trend for the moment, and that might be better on a statement piece or a more affordable piece that you can add on top of a basic. But when it comes to basics, man, I am so particular about getting quality and something neutral and timeless. The next thing that I did when going through my personal style journey, almost right away, I started adding jewelry, and specifically gold jewelry can be something that will give you the biggest impact on how elevated your style is. And day one for me, I wasn't out there buying 10 gold jewelry necklaces or anything. I built my collection of jewelry over time, and I'm still working on that. I don't have just, treasure troves of jewelry or anything. But one thing that I started with was brass jewelry. And of course, you might find if you're getting brass rings or anything, that might have a little bit of green around your fingers and stuff like that. But if you're careful with them, if you take off the rings before you're washing your hands, doing dishes, whatever, then that could be something where you're going to find that it's going to elevate your style and make you feel more confident as well. Like right now, I'm not wearing many of my rings, and it's kind of driving me batty because I just love to stack jewelry and have my rings on. I don't know, it's just something that makes me feel really comfortable. I think that one of the first things I did was add a couple of brass necklaces. And my friend, she runs a company called Windblown Jewelry. She is a powerhouse. Like, she runs her whole business out of a closet, and her pieces are just perfectly crafted by her, and she's got a small team, and it's just fun to take part in that. And I also just really like her design. So I'll leave a link down in my description where you can find her jewelry, and her pieces are very affordable too. So that is where I would definitely go to begin my jewelry collection. I also really like to work with Pamela Card because I love her pieces so much. They're very artistic. They're inspired by art history. Each one is uniquely handmade by really old, ancient practices. And so when I wear her jewelry, I just feel like I'm part of that craft. So her pieces are a bit more expensive, but they are gold plated. And so they aren't going to cost as much as it would cost if they were pure gold. So that's kind of how I make amends on wearing gold jewelry, is that they might be sterling silver underneath the gold. And otherwise, I really like to wear like bracelets that are very small, and those ones will be pure gold, but they are dainty. So anything that is pure gold that I wear usually is just, very small or like very thin rings. Otherwise, I like the gold-plated effect for that as well. For rings, the signet ring is really beautiful. So that's kind of my idea for jewelry, and maybe gold isn't your preference. I know some people just absolutely love silver, and that might actually be more affordable too if that's what you're drawn to, if maybe you have like cool tones to your skin. I know a lot of people who do love silver, and that might just be a preference. But I think that whenever you imagine someone who's just wearing a black outfit with jewelry, that's something you could wear when you're 20. That's something you could wear when you're 80. And there's just a timelessness to that. And really, you don't have to invest very much in your wardrobe if you're wearing very neutral, like black or chic colors that are just elevated by everyday jewelry. And the beauty of having jewelry and accessories is that you're not going to get sick of them. You're not going to get sick of wearing them as much, or maybe you feel like other people are sick of seeing you in something. That's not going to happen with jewelry as much as it would for, I've got a pink sweater that I absolutely love to wear, but I can't always wear it because I'm thinking, well, they're just going to say the girl that wears the pink sweater. So that's kind of my thinking, is wear something every day, especially if you're going to see the same people every day, that is timeless, that maybe won't define you as much as you define you. Maybe you should shine through more than the clothing. So that's kind of my thought there. Okay, this next one's a bit spicy, but I just absolutely feel like it is so true to thinking about how to mature your outfit, how to adult. And what I really think is true is wearing higher end lingerie has made a more of an impact on my everyday style, on my confidence, on knowing that my whole outfit is put together well. And this is kind of a tangent. I actually had someone just recently thank me fervently for recommending Nippy's skin adhesives. So it's not really lingerie, but it will make you feel more confident in what you're wearing. And you don't necessarily have to think about that particular bra that will work just right for the outfit that you're wearing. So I had to briefly mention that because I do think that investing in something just like that has made an everyday impact, not only on me, but other people. So I had to throw that in there, but also just wearing higher end lingerie. I really like Fleur de Mal, and I'm probably butchering how to say that, but I just love the idea of having confidence with the things that I'm wearing. So if I was to wear something beautiful on top that I invested in, and then I went to like the bargain bin and got a bra that didn't fit me just right, maybe wasn't quite my size, those are things to consider. And I've got a video that more explains lingerie and my thoughts there. So I will link you guys over that way. But in a nutshell, wearing higher end lingerie that I'm confident in, that makes me feel like I look my best when I'm wearing clothes or without, is just what I think builds a confidence in me. And there's nothing that I've found that's given me more immediate confidence than when I go into my closet in the morning and I'm like, yes, this is what I'm going to wear. And I don't know, I just feel like I've got my life under control when I feel like from top to bottom, from inside to out, that my outfit is put together well. And there's a sexiness to that, there's a beauty to that. And so investing in that was something that I didn't do day one of building my personal style. But afterward, I'm like, oh my gosh, this has made such an impact on me and even my marriage. So there you go. So higher end lingerie was number 3. And number 4 is wearing versatile shoes. So the first thing that I did was I bought a pair of mules. They were basically my one pair of shoes when I first started. They were from Nisolo, and I actually did a video back in the day just about that, which was about how versatile they are and how they go with everything. So I can link you guys to that video. But what I liked about this one pair of versatile shoes was that they were a neutral color. They were seasonally appropriate for the next couple of maybe 3 seasons, I would say. Like, starting early spring was a good time to begin my personal style journey where I live, because I could wear the same pair of shoes every day through spring, summer, and fall. And I know that's not necessarily the case for where everybody lives, but a good pair of closed-toe, neutral, like sand-colored mules was absolutely perfect for starting my personal style journey, and I still own a pair of those. I wore the first pair to death, and I just loved getting to wear a pair of shoes out enough to where I had to go repurchase them. Like, that's a sign of a really good pair of shoes. And I also think that adding a pair of shoes to my collection that had a very unique look that could go with anything was another win. And so that's what I would say to invest in when you're going to invest in shoes. You know, people can pay a lot of money for shoes, and they might not be the most versatile things in the world. They might not be the most practical if you have to walk a lot or go to different things, maybe an office. I keep using the office example for this because I do think that it's where you find yourself needing to look the most mature and be taken seriously. And wearing something that's not completely a practical shoe is a good idea as well for that environment. And so finding a good pair of shoes that you feel confident in, that elevates your personal style every day, is an absolutely great idea. And there's been a few different pairs of shoes that I've worn just for fun, and they are super fun to wear, but they might not get me as far as I want to in my return on investment of what I'm buying. I feel like when I say things like return on investment that I'm totally killing the vibe of what I'm trying to say. It might sound like completely nerdy, but that's really what I want to communicate to you guys today is if you're going to invest in a few key pieces in your wardrobe, what are the ones that have the biggest return on what you've actually spent money on? And in my experience, buying things like a good versatile pair of shoes or jewelry or, lingerie that you feel most confident in, or just high quality fabrics that maybe, they aren't even high quality, but ones that are more neutral or toned down can make you feel more mature. I want to also just briefly mention when I did work at Starbucks, you guys know that I worked at Starbucks when I was like 19, and I just loved having the uniform that they made us wear. It was like, back then it was like just blacks, whites, and khakis. That was it. Like, you could not wear anything. One time I actually had to go home. My manager was like, no, you can't wear those paired pants. They were a little bit velvety, so they looked gray. I had to go home and change my pants. It was super embarrassing. Don't be like me. Wear a good pair of like black pants. Anyways, that's a tangent. For anyone who wonders if my necklaces ever get tangled, yes, they do all the time. I just like to untangle them. It's kind of a hobby. Anyways, the last one that I wanted to discuss with you guys today, number 5 of the things to invest in your wardrobe, is high quality purses. And this is something very recent to me. I really went as long as I could without investing in purses because I just felt like they were so much of an accessory, maybe something I could get by without. Maybe I could just, carry something small, or, my outfit was doing good enough. I didn't need to actually invest in a purse too. But since I've done that, I found that it has been a really great thing. So some of them have been gifted too, because I waited so long in my career as somebody who talks about fashion online that I was able to actually reach out to companies and be like, please, sir, can I have a purse? So that is kind of where I'm at now. But I have to say that I now get more compliments on my whole outfit by wearing one purse than I ever did before. And it's just because I feel like if I wore the most basic t-shirt, pair of jeans, flip-flops, and then I added an absolutely amazing purse with it, it would be like completely acceptable and impressive just by adding the purse. So just like adding jewelry really had an impact on my personal style, I feel the same way about purses now. And I don't really have a large collection of purses, especially compared to some other people possibly, but I really just feel like adding one good black purse and one small beige purse is really all I need to get by. And I feel like those pieces, I could wear them every day. And again, it's not something that I'm going to get sick of wearing. It's not something that other people will get sick of seeing, and everybody's happy. And so I think that that's really a great thing, because I could invest in just the most basic outfit, and then again, like jewelry, purses will get you there. They will make your outfit look so elevated. You will look so chic. And I think that's why a lot of people do invest in things like Louis Vuitton. I mean, those bags are everywhere, and people can be on vacation and wearing completely like gym clothes, but they've got their Louis Vuitton bag. And I think that the thought behind that is that it is luxury and you can be more casual in your everyday life, but having that one thing that is more luxury elevates your style. I personally don't wear a lot of bags that have logos on them or anything like that. I like them to be a little bit more understated, and that's my personal preference. But I also think that by making decisions on my purse choices, I am trying to make them like intentional. So ones that I can wear with anything, that will be timeless, that I could pass down even. Like purses are something you could pass down, and they're vintage at that point. And they're just absolutely amazing. Like, oh, this was my aunt's lovely purse. Name brand, whatever. But I do think that wearing something that is more understated, even with your purses that are chic, will make them look more mature. So again, I think a lot of that is preference, but whenever I'm going to make a decision on what I'm going to get for my closet, I am thinking about, does that actually look intentional? Is that an intentional design decision, or am I just checking the box? Me and my friend were discussing that because I came from a place where everybody in the town had their boxes checked, meaning they had this type of car, they had this type of purse. And, I came from a place where I mean, my family definitely could not check any of the boxes. So to me, it was more like when I got to a point where I could buy a box, then what that meant to me was I want it to be something super intentional, something super timeless, something classic. And so that's kind of the box that I check, is not one that everyone else is checking, because what happens is they find that one box that they checked is now out of style, and they throw the box away, and then you're left with this box that you spent a lot of money on. And it just doesn't get you as far in your investment as it could. And so that's kind of my discussion today, is talking about pieces in conclusion that will give you the most impact on your investment and the longest amount of time as well. So if I bought a purse today, I want it to look amazing, in 20 years when I give it to my niece. Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And I want to look amazing today without having to spend a lot of money on an outfit. And so that's kind of where I found myself a couple of years ago. It's something that I'm very passionate about talking about, because I love, even now as I've endeavored into all of these different things involving fashion, I can have a little bit more fun now. I can buy a few other pieces that are perhaps more fun, a little less timeless, and sometimes they're not always timeless, but they're always something that it's going to blend well with the closet that I've built. I was reading a blog post a couple of years ago that was about how this one girl, she was in college. She really didn't have a budget at all for her clothes, but one thing that she did do is, and her clothes were all just like neutrals, exactly what I've described today. But then she bought one purse and one pair of shoes that could work for everyday use. And she got compliments every day. She was able to go out and feel confident. And these pieces weren't something that anyone got tired of. And that was an inspiration to me. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's a car alarm. But anyways, that was just such an inspiration to me, and that has really been my goal. I even, as a little kid, used to love when Oprah would talk about stuff like this, where she would say, these are the things that everybody needs in your closet. And she would go through each one, like the little black dress is obviously something that you'll always need, or a white button down, or a good pair of jeans, like one pair of flip-flops, one pair of heels, one pair of sneakers. And I used to always have that up in my closet and make sure that, like, listed out that I had each one of those things that were essential to my closet, so that I wouldn't feel lost. You know that feeling when you wake up in the morning and you just are looking at your closet and you're like, I have nothing to wear today. Ever since building my personal style, I haven't felt that feeling, and it's so refreshing to be able to think, I've built a closet that meets my needs. And I've talked about this a little bit, but I think that my major key with this is to build a color scheme. And I won't completely make a whole nother video segment to this video podcast, but I would say building on a color scheme has been the most important thing to do. So when I say things like finding fabrics that are neutrals, I really do mean it. Like, if you can find your color scheme, maybe it's not neutrals, although that one is the most timeless, the most mature, then you will be able to extend the life of your clothes. You're going to be able to build on that so much in your own capsule wardrobe, which can be a capsule of maybe a larger size. I don't have any definition there. I don't have a capsule wardrobe necessarily. I never really did, except for when I first was starting over on my style. But I like the idea of everything just blending together, working, having a purpose. And I hope that my heart of this conversation is coming through, because that's really my goal, is to set you up for success and to be able to have the best impact on what you're investing in. So that was a really chatty video, but I really hope that you like it so much. If you're listening here on the podcast, please rate it and do all those things. I am not the most experienced podcaster in the world, but I absolutely love to be able to post these out for you guys. Hopefully you are, I don't know, maybe stuck in traffic or something, and this has just made your life a little bit more peaceful. Maybe it's given you some insight that perhaps you hadn't had before, and I just love being able to talk with you guys. So doing these chatty videos, I mean, having a podcast is just an excuse for me to be able to just like completely go off the rails and speak my mind about these things. So I hope that you're able to get something out of it. So again, the 5 things that I would invest in fashion. Number 1, high quality neutrals. Number 2, gold jewelry. Number 3, higher end lingerie that I'm confident in. Number 4 is versatile shoes. And the 5th was high quality purses. So I will leave you guys with that. I hope you're having an awesome day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, whatever it is, wherever you're listening. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Take my